Hi guys. So welcome back to Responding from the Gap, part 1, Understanding the System. And this is episode 3, which is conditioning and reinforcement. So for the last episode, we talked about how my body had flagged a racing heart as anxiety and built a complete narrative around that feeling. And in episode 1, we talked about how the human system is so seamless that we mistake these automatic processes for us. So what makes the process feel real and automatic? That would be conditioning and reinforcement. So by the time that I had noticed that I had these patterns going on, my nervous system had already spent over 40 years collecting predictive data. And that data had been reinforced thousands upon thousands upon thousands of millions of times probably. As a child, I learned relatively early on that people pleasing would keep me safe. People pleasing reduced conflict. I did it once and it worked. I did it twice and it worked. And before long, it was just this automatic behavior that I was doing. And eventually, the system stopped experiencing that people pleasing was something that I did and instead told me it was someone who I was. And every interaction that I would have from there on out reinforced that pattern even more. So this is constantly happening throughout life, and people pleasing is one that I can really relate to, but I'm going to use an example that I feel like the world can relate to. So in 2020, COVID, remote work and remote learning became the norm overnight. And it did not take very long for social anxiety to just skyrocket. People spent months, years reinforcing the idea that experiencing isolation and avoidance reduced social exposure. And for many people, the discomfort that they were feeling around being in a social environment transformed from, oh, I'm uncomfortable being in this environment and I don't know, into this is who I am. I have social anxiety. And that is how reinforcement works. Repeated experience over and over again can become a conditioned pattern. And a conditioned pattern becomes an automatic response. An automatic response starts to feel like who we are. That realization changed the way that I viewed myself completely because I started understanding many of the things that I thought were permanent indicators of who I was as an individual was actually a reinforced adaptation, a pattern that I had repeated so many times that it became invisible. So the current version of you may be running on an operating system that was installed decades ago. But hidden inside that realization is something really powerful too, because if repetition is building the pattern, new repetition will solve it, which means change is possible.